Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. There's a report that came in the United States, and this was for the Congress and the political establishment's consumption. And this has created a bit of a, I should say, kerfuffle in India because one of the noted geopolitics observers has played it up a little bit, in my opinion. So today we are going to be talking about this. Does it even matter what the US is telling its own people and its own decision makers? Because it does matter, because there may be some decisions that might be made that will cost India in the long run. So I'm, as a US citizen, a little bit, I should say, well, I'll tell you what I mean after we listen to the three good generals. Let's first welcome the three good generals, General Ravi Shankar, General Dushyant Singh, and General Rajiv Narayanan. Namaskaram and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar, sir. All fine.
Okay, so the wicket is doing a little bit today. So we're going to have Sunil Gavaskar opening the batting today, and then he'll be followed by MS Dhoni in the top order, and then we'll have General Dushyant bringing in the rear. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thanks a lot. Shri Iyer ji. Well, the China-Pak propaganda and US being taken in by it, actually this is normal. It's not something abnormal. But the report which you said is of the US Congressional Committee report, which is submitted to the government. Fundamentally, it is a report of China, right? Largely, it covers US-China issues and where US stands against China, or where does China stand. It's there. It's quite a detailed report. It's only in page 109 it is said that India and Pakistan are mentioned in tandem, and there it comes that Pakistan had success against India, things like that. And then it talks of how China helped Pakistan, and it clarifies certain perceptions or issues. The way people look at it, of course, it's not a great thing. But when you look at it, it's not something very unusual for America to take such a thing. First and foremost, I'm sure others also will agree with me. This report is a compilation from public sources. It's not something exclusive or secret or classified and all. It's a reference report, and some of the references are dubious, especially about the thing about Pakistan gaining success over India by downing those Rafales and all that. Is fake. Why it's fake? I'm calling it fake because this is reference to a Stimson report, Stimson Center report by Christopher Clary. Now, Christopher Clary is again a dubious guy, the way I look at it. I won't say he's dubious. He's an American individual or a Canadian or something like that. But he's married to a Pakistani. And even during Op Sindoor and beyond that, he will talk all nice, but at the end he will talk against India and in favor of Pakistan. For a long time, I didn't understand this. Till I came to know that his wife is a Pakistani. Then I called him out in social media. And then I had to tell him, look, you're someone who is presenting a wrong picture. And after that, I've had no conversation with him. So this fellow is, well, that's what he is, what he wrote in Stimson Center, it's there. And even that report is not very conclusive. It was written immediately after the thing, and that's the end of the story. Well, that has been picked up, added in this. So I don't give much credence to that whole story. That's the first thing. The second thing which I want to bring up, and this is important, is that, every war is analyzed very well. Whether it's the Russia-Ukraine war or the Gaza conflict or South China Sea, you keep analyzing it and getting lessons. The world has to learn lessons. All that. This is an event between two nuclear countries. It started and finished. And the best part of this conflict was conflict termination. Conflict starting is one point of the story. Conflict termination is important. In 4 days, whatever happened, and you're out of it. And then it's not like what our Chief of Defense Staff very clearly said, it's not the initial losses you suffer, but how you rectified it and responded and finished the war. Now, I thought these two were really great lessons of any campaign. As a military man, any campaign, I look at these two, but the world has not looked at it. This has not been analyzed. Otherwise, these Americans and these Chinese keep analyzing it. All these things, the cows come home. No? The Western press, barring a few people, no one else analyzed it. Why? Because there are uncomfortable outcomes in that. They have not addressed these uncomfortable outcomes for both of them, America and China. And they've included in that congressional report what they want. And it is not new in China. China does it, I mean, not new for USA. USA keeps doing it all the time. And if you look at it, USA is a country which I feel now in retrospect is a country which has fooled itself. It has fooled itself with China. It has fooled itself with Pakistan. It has a habit of fooling itself. So this report is another, report of fooling itself. So what's so special? Why should we react? But having said that, today morning I was, after a few days, the Bangladesh operation would start. And this is we're in the period of run up to the 1971 Bangladesh ops. And this year I thought, let me go into it in some detail. So I did my first podcast on this about what led to the Bangladesh operations. And I came across something very interesting, which resonates with what's happening today. I mean, that is the point which I want to bring out, and that's what my focus is. That's why I said, before the show started, I'm going to take all of you on a tangent. The report per se has got no value to me. So I have a few slides. You'll understand what I'm talking when I put the slides on. Yeah, please. Look, this is a triangle which is going on from ages. US, Pakistan, China is a triangle. It's not new. They have a relationship far beyond India. That's something which all of us have to understand. And I'll explain it further. Right? And this relationship is based on lies and deceit. Each promising everything to each other and letting each other down. So why are we worried about these three chaps when they talk the way they talk? We might be in a strategic equation with the USA, at least on paper. Okay, on ground, I don't think it survives. But we should understand that lies and deceit are part of the story. And what has happened now is nothing new. Look at this. This is a report of Dawn in 6 December 1971. I chanced upon it. 49 Indian jets downed. 70 years later, you divided by 7 Rafales down. And they said we are winning the war. You know what happened? After downing 49 Indian jets, if Pakistan couldn't win 1971, do you think it has won a war after downing 7 Rafales, as they claim? Neither were 49 jets downed in 1971, nor were 7 Rafales downed now. You look at the equation. Then there's something else. I don't know how many people have read about this thing called the blood telegram. I said, I'm going to take you on a tangent. This is the tangent. What is a blood telegram? Is not about blood going in a telegram, but it was a telegram given by Archer Blood, who was the Consul General in Dhaka. And he gave a telegram, to Nixon. Okay? And he vehemently protested that what we are doing is wrong. Look, and he went on to, he described the massacres by Pakistani army. And when was this given? In April. Searchlight had started in March. 1 month into that whole story, the American Consul General in Dhaka says, look, there's a massacre going on out here. He says, our government has failed to denounce the suppression of democracy. Our government has failed to denounce the atrocities. Our government has evidenced what many calls moral bankruptcy. And he spoke of selective genocide then. And then he urged Washington to take an about turn. They didn't. What did Richard Nixon do? He recalled this fellow and sacked him. Okay. And why did he do it? That logic is also there. The logic is very simple. At that point of time, Richard Nixon was and Kissinger were using Pakistan to talk with China. That was the relationship. Now you see the triangle which I showed you. If today Pakistan, China, and USA are in a particular state, that whole thing started then. And it started during a war. So what do you expect from all these three people? Pahalgam happened. You saw what American reaction was. Even in 49, even in 71, when 49 planes were drowned or downed by Pakistan, the Americans said, oh, the Pakistanis are going to win the war. Same thing is now. With these lies of 7 planes, Pakistan is winning the war. So what's different? At that, in 71, they sent the 7th fleet in to save Pakistan. What is Trump doing in a different context? It's the same thing. So this is what I had to say. Yeah, please take the slide off. Thank you. This is the last slide. This is what I had to put across. Like I said, I've taken you off on a tangent. Right? But I had to take you off on a tangent because the similarities between what happened in 71 and now are absolutely the same. It's the same USA, the same China, the same Pakistan. What do you expect from them? This is what I had to say. Back to you. We'll discuss more later.
Thank you, General Ravi Shankar. Now, General Rajiv Narayanan, you and I have been talking, we've been working for a few hours since morning for you about this report. So, sir, your opening remarks on this.
Okay. So let me first make out that page 109, which is that critical page. While in the first para, he speaks about success and then subsequently contradicts himself. He brought it down to 3, may not be Rafales, some debris seen through social media reports. And then he contradicts himself by saying that the French intelligence have mentioned, which he quotes there, of the Chinese using disinformation campaign and social media handles using video gaming and AI generated images to declare successes. That means if everything what he is talking of is a video gaming and AI, then where is the success? Already spoken about that Christopher Clary's report for Stimson, and in that he clarifies at the end, written on May 28th, that this is initial what he could gather from social media. Can you believe it? Making a report from social media, and so that enough data is not available, so some references can be given. So that itself tells you the value of that. I think whoever was making this report, let's be very clear, they also knew that please someone they had to place that. It doesn't find mention in the executive summary of that chapter. There is nothing. I think they have tried to play up Chinese and PLA equipment everywhere to get a bigger pie of the defense budget. Create a hawa about Chinese equipment and this and that, so that they can at least confirm to the government that this is the problem in this. So the entire report is essentially what? It is the US-China economic and security report. Bulk of the security report revolves around 2 issues. A growing China, Russia, Iran and North Korea axis. This time they have not given any words to the axis. Condoleezza Rice will be getting angry. Axis of evil and other things they used to give earlier. Not done. Very quietly given Indo-Pacific. Only talk of Western Pacific. There is no mention of Indian Ocean region. In the executive summary, there is no mention of India or Pakistan. ASEAN, Taiwan, and Hong Kong find mention. And economic, he looks at the threat and he talks of Made in China 2025 and how the global supply chains are being affected, where China is weaponizing the geoeconomics and doing various things, and a summary of what they need to do. So that is the report. And another thing they are worried about, which is, I think, a beginning of look. By the way, this congressional report of China, it has been started as of 2000, cleared by the Senate, and this commission has been created in 2000. Remember, at that time, China had not yet entered the WTO. This we must remember. When he is talking of pharma, two things he is most worried about the sourcing of API and KSM, key source materials. And he says these are coming from China or routed via India. And he claims that there are some of them made by China in India. And he is worried that he doesn't want India also to be in the loop. So it doesn't find mentioned in the executive summary, it is there in the report. So I think in the trade negotiations, these issues might find a play when we push for more pharma. I'll stop here and then we can take it.
Thank you so much, General Rajiv Narayanan. General Dushyant Singh, deck is yours, sir. And I think you have a presentation today, or you don't?
I have a small little 3-4 slide presentation.
Okay.
And I'll run that.
Yeah.
So basically, I think major issues have already been covered by General Rajiv Narayanan, and General Shankar has given a comparison with what all has happened in the 71 war, which actually it's a reinforcement of the character of relationship between India, China, Pakistan, and US. So whether that is replaying is something which we need to analyze and confirm. To my mind, it is replaying, and you can connect various dots for that. Simultaneous interest in Pakistan, both by China and US. You find China not speaking so vehemently against Pakistan if there is a deal on rare earth, if there is a deal on cryptocurrency. Similarly, if Pakistan is going to the US for begging for economic help or begging for more defense equipment or upgradation of its F-16s, I think there seems to be some kind of a tacit agreement between these three actors, the triangle which he showed. And to back it up, I will just show you 3 slides or 4 slides which actually reinforce the deep nexus. The entire war seems to, not war, it is not a war actually. The entire conflict of 88 hours was being very closely monitored by the Chinese. So if you go to the next issue, here is one tweet which I would like you all to focus upon. It was in the Chinese social media on India attacks Pakistan. Several hashtags, related to India-Pakistan conflict began trending, including reports that Pakistan had shot down 6 Indian aircraft. Pakistani authorities also claimed the country had been struck by Indian missiles. So what I'm saying is that the hashtag Pakistan shoots down 6 Indian fighter jets were actually being played out in China. And it was China which was actually throwing it out into the international environment. For example, the first tweet had almost 43.559 million and discussions over 130,000, 95 media outlets. Similarly, Pakistan shoots down 6 Indian fighter jets, 20.53 million, discussions over 3,369 comments, and 42 media outlets uploaded this to the Weibo. If you look at the characteristics of this, you'll find All of these were surging at a very unusual time in the night. In the day when this particular tweet was taken out, it was around 800 or so. From there, it slowly rose to 8.58. But by the time you got up in the morning, this tweet had gone down to almost 50 million or 48 million. How come in such a short span you may try your level best? Humans can't actually spread it to such a large quantity. So therefore, obviously, technology of Chinese was being backed into the social media war. The second thing which you find very clearly in this is the 50 cent army was being actually geared and galvanized as though the war is of China and not of Pakistan. So whatever China may say that it was not part of the, I mean, it was not taking part in the conflict. I think it was very actively handling the non-kinetic element of Pakistan, and that is where we need to realize that this nexus needs to be taken care of in our next round. Coordinated media actions were taking place. Beijing daily was monitoring. They were monitoring as moderators. It's like an anchor orchestrating the war, and the Chinese media was actually monitoring the Pakistani media also, and also the Chinese media, and how it was being played out on TikTok in the US. I have discussed that in the past, so I won't repeat those things. So it was a multi-pronged attack, and it was being backed by the lobbyists. Now that is a point which I would like to connect here with the report, the US Congressional report. You see, to me, it looks like first of all, it was an amateur report written by an amateur. I mean, you could straight away say that not even those young researchers would write a report like this for a congressional committee. I think this is something which we need to analyze. So therefore, besides being amateur, it was also very, very childish. So either it is a planned thing, or it is a galti ho gaya types, jaldi jaldi banana tha, so somebody wrote like that. In my view, it was a planned thing, whether it was for the defense lobby to defense budget to be increased as far as the US was concerned, or my sense says it was the Chinese lobby, not even Pakistani lobby, which was working in the US over time. Let me tell you, in 2018, they spent almost 6 billion buying out the media of the US, and this figure is only growing. So in that, the lobbyists are also there. I think Sri Ayerji, you did a program in which various these think tanks are actually, where they are funded, etc. I am now forgetting those names, but you had given out a whole list of I think 4 or 5
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
these think tanks. So they are all, I think, it is a planned event to push it into the congressional report, and that is why it didn't find its place in the executive summary as well. Now, if you look at it, look at some of the other social media. Why is Pakistan Air Force so formidable? Again, 48.85 overnight. Uh, uh, so my last point in this is that it was a pre-planned thing by Pakistan and China to ensure that even if Pakistan loses, Pakistan will be orchestrated to emerge as
Okay.
victorious. And the hashtag which was played out last, I don't know whether you all know about it: glorious in peace, victorious in war. This was the last hashtag which was played out by the Pakistanis and double impacted by the Chinese. Thereafter, somebody became field marshal. So that is the power of the narrative. Both in the US, they influence the congressmen to ensure that Pakistani interests are taken care of, Chinese interests are taken care of. The in Pakistan itself, the Pakistani public was made to believe that, look, it was all the way Pakistan which was successful. And there were some of our friends who went across, interacted on track to discussions where the Pakistanis sold their superiority in such a manner that when they came back, they actually amplified it. In my view, whenever an enemy is trying to sell something, it should be our endeavor to underplay it and not amplify it. Brahma Chelani has done exactly the same thing. He has picked up that one line, Pakistan, recent Pakistan military success over India, without going through the rest of the detail. But that is the tragedy of our so-called social media or print media or whatever it is. You look at the headlines and you don't read the fine lines. You don't read the between the lines. The entire that script, that one paragraph which I saw, was riddled with contradictions only. So in the end, my suggestion or my request to the entire audience is, please do not spread it. Let's rubbish this bloody report. It doesn't deserve a US congressional, whatever be their interest, whatever be their sovereign interest. It doesn't even deserve the credit to be published as a lowly think tank's report. So I think we should end this damn thing here only, and let's not take it anymore forward, and let's look at how we can actually improve our narrative war. And here I would like to praise India, despite the fact that we have been quite later on in the Op Sindoor, we did lose out on narrative war, but the initial narrative war was quite good. The fact checks are coming out to be very, very good now. In fact, the fact check machine of both the armed forces and the PIB is working overtime to ensure that these so-called deep fakes and other social narratives are being nipped in the bud. But we are only defensive. I think the time has come for us to become offensive as well. So if they are playing the game of unrestricted warfare, or if the Pakistanis are playing the game of sending out false narratives, no wars are won by full truth. All wars have an element of half truth and half lies, right from the 3rd century AD and right up to even in our mythology, if you want to call it as mythology, Mahabharata, etc. Everywhere, Krishna ji had to change his approach to defeat a strong enemy. So I think time has come for us to be in the land of Romans, like the Romans. Look at our resources. We are misusing our resources. There is no coordination. There is nothing which is channelizing our narrative war. And the kind of print, kind of radio station, 900 channel, what have you, YouTube is flooded with everybody singing its own song on a daily basis without any directional approach to it. So what I had suggested as far as strategic communication is concerned, I think where we are lacking is funding, lobbying, cultivating influencers. It's a very gray world and out there, and we need to play the gray. We need to play the gray war effectively and efficiently. So with that, I'll end my first round discussion here only, and just say that the time has come for the 80% war. It is going to be 80% non-kinetic. Continue to go on. Otherwise, you'll find after 15 days another report from some other Rand journal coming up and trying to trash something, and we will immediately take it up and pick it up and make it into a big issue. And especially if it comes from people like Brahma Chelani and all, who are considered to be so-called thinkers, etc., etc., I think they're doing a great injustice to the entire system. Oh, I finished.
Thank you so much, General Dushyant. And I just want to add my 2 cents to this whole thing. General Dushyant, it hurts me deeply that you're saying that as a YouTuber, I'm not doing my job. I think I am doing my job. I'm, in fact, one of the first ones to highlight that United States dependence on China for its own armaments is so huge that it cannot really be thinking of having a war against China at this point of time. I was one of the first ones to take out all the data from private military contractors' equipment and say that, look, US has a huge problem. We gave away all this. Sir, 25 years ago, I remember, it was like 20 micrometer technology, microns, 20 microns. Today, we are in nanometers, 1,000 times smaller. There were some components that the United States Army needed that had these typical things like, old transistors, old ICs that were made using 20 micron technology. And they were willing to give a foundry in the Silicon Valley the extra little bit so that they can be justified to continue to running this process, because these guys needed 100 a month or something like that, or 100 a year. And they say, it's okay, we'll give you what you need so that you can keep your fab running, because fab cannot be turned off. Once the fab runs, it keeps running. You got to feed it something. And they were willing to source that money so that the fab could keep running, and whenever these guys needed some components, they could supply to them. But in the last 20 years, a lot of things have changed for the worse, I must say. And this whole thing about US climbing down, I had done a program October 9th and 10th, how the US Treasury got a huge hit. And then suddenly, you saw Trump changing the tune. And now I had made a lot of noise about H1B, that, I had to counter the MAGA or the extremist elements of MAGA. I told them, look, this is not what you are thinking is happening. And watch what happened 2 days ago. Trump said that we do need H1Bs. It's a different matter that he still has that 100K per applicant. See, there are some things that went wrong. I don't deny that. And so some correction is going to happen. Somewhere in the middle, we are going to find middle ground. My take on all this thing is, you can say that it doesn't matter what appears in this congressional committee briefing. 745 pages is this report, gentlemen. 745 pages and multiple chapters, multiple sections, and so on and so forth. Do you think any congressman has time to read 745 pages? No. What happens is, somebody in the office finds the summary, and helpfully for that somebody else will give them, look, these are the salient points. You see what I'm saying? So it's not the congressman, it's not even the congressman's helper, it's somebody else. That somebody else is what you need to catch. And yes, I'm telling you, in Indian American parlance, we are really, really behind in this race. And yes, Rajiv Malhotra told me on a hangout that 88 Pakistani Americans are in the current Trump think tank, the global body that is making all the decisions. Only one Indian American, and that one Indian American is more American than an Indian American. So this is what we are dealing with. Be that as it may, what are we going to? Yeah, sir.
I was not telling anything against you. What I said was in generic terms. Don't take it personal. No, what I'm saying is that the congressmen have 30-40 of these researchers with them, always roaming around. I've been in the US, so I went through few of these congressmen. So I saw, what are you guys doing? So we are researchers of the congressman. So it is these guys who are actually giving him the inputs. So whatever inputs they give to the congressman, is going to speak on that. So that is why I said the lobbying thing has to be actually done, more of investment by India, not by the US. Why is US interested? It's the Indian government or Indian Information War Department, which has to now start investing, not only in the US, but all other places where if you want our narratives to go ahead. Otherwise people who are investing in it, they are getting their narrative into the right places, whether it is Congressional report or whether it is a RAND report. How many in Naval Postgraduate School I was studying there is a person who has been embedded not from now. He has been embedded from the last 30-40 years, Firoz Khan. Every time there is any program on nuclear issue, he calls Kidwai, what is his name, that Pakistani General Sahab, who looks after the who has been their nuclear expert. Unke saath ek program karta hai, and he manages to influence the local national security department of the US. That kind of approach we are not having. We sent somebody there.
The author of sir, this is the author of Eating Grass, right?
Yes.
Firoz Khan?
Yes. Firoz Khan, he's in NPS. Imagine his guts. He writes a book on Kargil with an Indian author. And that too, an Indian author, a Fauji, Lieutenant Colonel Saab. Why? Well, you know why. So what I'm trying to say,
credibility, right?
Yeah, this embedding the cleverness of the resources which they have deployed in the US. I think they've gone with a plan. Whether their country is going to dumps, that's a different issue. But on certain issues, they know they are, I think, working good to ensure that they survive. And by they, I mean the military, not even the Pakistani public as such. It's the military which is playing all these games wherever you go.
So they
A
Thank you,
military
sir.
of a Pakistani major Saab manages to fund a trip to go to UK, UK, to study as to how the jihadis are becoming so radicalized, etc., etc. How are the ghettos coming up in the UK? So many stories are there which I can keep on relating. I was luckily there for a longer time, so I saw all these manipulations which were being done.
So
And
the armed forces, and also the bureaucrats, you have a concept of study leave.
yes,
That is where the embedding starts,
and they leave them there.
and they leave them there and let them stay there.
Yes,
And they also, since through the back door they are funding that establishment, through that funding their person gets the money, and it's a long-term thing. It's been going on, and I'm sure Hamid Haqqani is also there in the same manner.
Yeah, every think tank they have planted these people. Every think tank they have planted these people.
So,
May I come in, please? May I come in for a second, please? General Dushyant, I meant it in a jest, sir. I know what I am doing. I get my some things wrong. I just meant it in a jest. No, I know you are my well-wisher, and see what I know what I am, and I do make some mistakes once in a while, and we are correcting ourselves. To just round out the observation of General Ravi Shankar about Christopher Clary's wife. Her name is Nilofer Siddiqui, and she's a non-resident fellow at the Mehboob Al-Haq Center, LUMS, Pakistan. Now, what happens is that if your entire paragraph is based on one report that's come, and that person is married to a Pakistani who's living in Pakistan, I mean, it's very difficult for us to take this whole thing seriously. But the point is, how many of us are going to read the fine print? Because what General Rajiv Narayanan did was, in the main report, there is a footnote. There is a link to a footnote. And you click on that link, then you go to the original article of Christopher Clary. And then there you have to go back and look at how he has written that article based on who else's comment. Then suddenly we start seeing the bugger is quoting social media comments here, there, everywhere. I mean, you can quote, nothing wrong in that, but understand that this is where the source of the information is. Do you think any congressman has time to understand all these things? No, that is the problem. This is where America has a problem. Indian Americans are beginning to understand that this information part has to be done, because the people who work in the congressman's office, women's office, they are unpaid interns. Yes. Unpaid intern. That means somebody needs to take care of even basic. Supposing you are 4 people living in an apartment, somebody has to pay the rent, somebody has to give some money for them for upkeep to be able to travel to the office and come back. There is a certain amount of thing involved. And the Indian American community is working towards that. But the other side has a head start in this. We are now 2 or 3 lobbying organizations in Washington DC. My number is 400 as far as Pakistan is concerned. That means they know what's going to happen at the very beginning level, and they know
not just in Washington DC. China and the Pakistanis have it in every state.
Yes, true, very true. Sir, there is a report that has come out that says any Chinese American candidate in the United States, doesn't matter which level of election they are contesting in, there is a Chinese influence.
Yes.
And you know, another thing that's happening, there is a guy, congressman from my area, Kyle something, if I remember correctly. Anyway, this guy was caught with his pants down with a Chinese spy. Her name was Fang Fang. And she also had, I mean, the FBI caught her on video with many mayors in many cities. Suddenly she disappeared. But now this guy wants to run for president. He's a Democrat. Nancy Pelosi's Shishya. So is Gavin Newsom. But my point I'm trying to say is, this thing is, for lack of better word, 6 letters starting with F. Let's get back to General Ravi Shankar. Sir, would you like to add to that, and then we can go to questions now?
Look, Yeah.
I would like to I would like to apologize for the diversion. I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm okay. See, the fact is, you might like to say that our system is good, bad, ugly. We need to reform, there's no doubt about it. We also have to understand that, look, you are up against a system which is embedded. This triangle of Pakistan, China, and USA. That's why I said I went back to 1971 to give you the equation today. They're up against it.
Yes.
What is interesting for me in this whole story, no one would have noticed it. After this is just one sentence in uh, in 240, 50 pages. The only sentence against India is this. That only sentence against India is this, because in that very paragraph, the sentence is contradicted, like what Rajiv said earlier.
Yes, yes.
How is it that this has come out and made a shore all over India? Why is it that I get so many this thing that, look, Pakistan's success against India has been highlighted in the American Congressional report, so it is correct. And how does it get highlighted in India by an Indian? Look, forget about media, Shidia, and all. You have to clean your stables. That is the first point. And okay, we are doing all this today. I would like to. I mean, that we have to. That's we have to be on the fundamentals. Like what Rajiv said, the very next paragraph it is contradicted. That has come from AI. It has come from OSINT and things like that. There's no reference. It is pictures are generated by fake, and many of these are declared as fake. Why is it that part no one reads in India? Are we brainwashed? Are we as Indians brainwashed? I mean, don't go that far. Look at the comments here, and I'd like you to, Sachin, you're monitoring all these comments. Get them out. I find there are guys here who are spreading nonsense about us. Don't go far. There's one guy who says I graduated from IIT Madras here in this today's podcast, and these guys can't be from IIT. They are RSS quoted characters. This is the depth of misinformation which is coming out. Please understand, because I don't think anyone else would have discussed this today. This topic, right? And like someone said, this must be that 0.5 half front which is putting out this propaganda. We have enough people, which I spoke of when we discussed the Delhi blast. After all, the Delhi blast didn't take place from somewhere else. It took place through a channel. That same channel is working today. We have to look at the larger problem, right? And like I said, look at the larger problem. There's a war. I mean, you might like to call it a conflict. 88 hours of war. It's a short war between two nuclear nations. We should have had tremendous lessons drawn out of this internationally. I expected it. It's not happened. Why? Yeah, look at this bugger. Look at his name also. Please see what he's written. He says when professors were picked for intellect, he graduated in 1987 when professors were picked for intellect. Now with Rajiv Narayanan and P.R. Shankar, it feels all the more like RSS approved casting than academics. This ass doesn't know what we are. You see, the point is we have to look within ourselves. I've always maintained, don't look at America, don't look at USA, don't look at Pakistan, don't look at China. Look within ourselves. Your strength, you have to find ourselves. I mean, let me categorically tell everyone that shitty character who's written that, deny shit, no? That's his name. Why am I in IIT? I'm here in IIT to discover myself for India. I mean, that's true for all of us. All three of us who are affiliated to IIT Madras. And we're getting front end technology, which is not there anywhere else in the world. You have to find that strength yourself within. There's no point in blaming others. There's no doubt in my mind that you need your own, machine, a machinery which can put out narratives. And like what General Dushan said, you have the best system available. You have a complete Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And no other country would have probably had it, and you still don't broadcast. So let's look at it ourselves. I mean, I have no this thing to think of what USA is doing or not. It's their baby. Let them do what they want. Right? If the US Congress report is to be based on reports by unpaid interns and idiots, all the best. The next thing, which we have not discussed, what good is this report all about? What will it serve? Whose purpose is it serving? Right? So I think we need to do a holistic thinking, one, on this entire issue. And the second thing, which I get back, that triangle of Pakistan, China, and USA will continue. It reinforces the point which I've been saying off late. We don't have a strategic relationship with USA anymore. Let's start from that premise and let's start learning how to stand on our own. It's going to be difficult. I mean, you need a relationship with them, but it will not be strategic. Equally, you need a relationship with China if you want to grow. Right? There's a push-pull between India and China, which is going on at this point of time. And you need their investment, you need some technology from them. There are dangers in that. And you have to deal with this Pakistan. The same Pakistan who says 49 jets 50 years back, today will say 7 jets, tomorrow it will say 700 jets. This story will continue. And this is compounded by Bangladesh, an ungrateful nation. So I think we have to look at it, I won't say de novo, but I think one of the things, a major lesson which comes out of Op Sindoor is not the fact that whether you won the war or not, it's how well you have told the story. The people who have won wars are the guys who are telling good stories. Whether that story is right or not is not the issue. And you are trying to say, I am fighting a righteous war. There's nothing righteous about war. I think the faster we start thinking of this, the better we will be. I mean, I'm getting back to track as to where we have to head. Right? That's all I have to say. Back to you, Shreyaji.
Thank you so much. General Rajiv, your comments, and then I have one question for you, sir. So before I hand off to General Dushyant, I'll ask that question. Over to you, General Rajiv.
Yeah. In fact, General Dushyant had asked me to write a chapter on strategic communication in the book that was published by Claus on Op Sindoor. And what Shankar is saying and what Dushyant is saying, and put it there in that chapter. That it has to come top down, and how a rough structure and other things I had given on Department of Strategic Communication and how to go about it, what to do, taking leave from how the others are doing, in what manner they are doing, and what all we should be doing and how we should be doing. I hope something comes out of that, because unless you do that, you will always be playing catch in the narrative. And in the coming wars, it is the one who is first with his narrative out. It becomes very difficult, because when every side is buying off people all over the globe, it becomes very difficult for you to win the narrative. It's one thing to say that the Guardian and WAPO and New York Times are like this. Why haven't you bought them off? Who's stopping you? Why haven't you placed your people there? Who's stopping you? This is not a world for crybabies. Oh, this is wrong. Yes, okay, this is wrong. If you're not able to buy WAPO or NYT or the Guardian, why not buy somebody else who gives out your reports and which has good this thing? And in one which I missed out in that chapter, what stops the government for running their own 50-cent army? Why don't you have your own Wu Mao? What's the point in crying that the other chap is doing it? What stops you from doing it? Do it. None of this, and as far as, like I said in my opening remarks, the Congressional report people who are compiling it also knew this is foolish. So it does not find anything in the executive summary. So any of these people who are going to help that congressman, they're doing multiple duties, are going to take the executive summary of the, compile the executive summaries from each of the chapter and make out bullet points and give it to him. This is nowhere in the executive summary. Zero. What we need to look at, the Quad heads of state is not taking place. And in their version for Indo-Pacific, they're only looking at Western Pacific. That should be a matter of concern for us. That he's only looking at ASEAN, he's looking at Taiwan, he's looking at Hong Kong, and even Japan and South Korea should be worried. He's not looking at Japan and South Korea. So these are certainly larger issues that we need to. And I'll stick my neck out. I wonder how many people have been paid to tap just that one line. On page 109, just one line paid the people to run that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. I have a question for you. This is a defense lingo. I want a little bit clarity. What are crashed drop tanks?
When you want extended ranges or long duration, outside you have drop tanks. Since it reduces its load for taking G and other things, you first use that. You first use that and drop it. That's why it is drop tank, and so it falls down and crashes. And most of the debris that initially they were showing on social media was drop tanks. Since you want to stay in air for long, first feed is from the drop tank, drop it, and that's why it's called drop tanks. Drop it and then you're. That's what it is. And
Thank you,
sir. Two of the drones, or Banshee drones or something, two of them.
Yeah. It enhances the agility of the aircraft to run away from any kind of a threat. So that is why these initial all up load is initially high, and then they make it lesser as the fight progresses. I have nothing more to add, just to say that I think time has come for us now to think of the social media and the information warfare in a much more I would say balanced manner, and the public needs to be made aware that, look, don't believe whatever is coming on the social media or YouTube or various platforms which are there, whether it is WhatsApp, Telegram, Signals, on the face value. Look at it, get it confirmed from 2-3 sources, and then say whether it is right or wrong, and then come out with your comments. I think a little bit of deliberation is required across the country. I'm talking for people inside the country, and like Jan Shankar said, the stable has to be cleaned, and the responsibility lies on people like us, who are at the top, who are trying to convey certain messages, speak in various platforms. These are the people who have to I think say things correctly. I wrote an article in Deccan Herald, and it had something to do with veterans. It was a very balanced article looking at both the government and the veterans' interests. But the heading which Deccan Herald painted was "Saga of Betrayal of Veterans." Now, moment you write this huge heading in the Deccan Herald, Dushyant Singh became an enemy of the government. He became, I became friend of the veterans. I said, "पूरा तो पढ़ लो, उसके अंदर लिखा क्या है?" And then I went back to Deccan. I said, "Why did you change the heading?" He said, "Sir, otherwise who will read, sir?" So I think somewhere there is a need for us to take responsibility of what we are actually putting out in the media. People read it, and once they find something very interesting, they share it like a viral. I the other day had a YouTube program with a lady, so on the on this Delhi blast, etc. Now it's suddenly gone viral. My lost friends are ringing me up because of certain things which I, out of heat of the in the heat of the moment, I said something related to politics and security. So suddenly everybody has latched on to it and it's just running away. It's over 2 lakhs in the YouTube, 2 lakhs in Facebook, 2 lakhs in LinkedIn. I don't know what is happening. So I've stopped responding to people. I said, "Okay." But the fact of the matter is, I said something which was absolutely right and correct for the public. I would say public awareness is the next job which we have to do, and fighting the war, take the war to the enemy. These are the two big points which I have as far as narrative war or information war or non-kinetic war is concerned. Let's not be only defensive, let's be offensive as well.
Thank you so much, sir. I think with all your permission, shall we go for questions now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Let's take the questions, please. Akash Tadani wants to know, the USA, Europe, Pak, China propaganda is an echo chamber. It has its strict tenets. Only approved narratives are permitted to exist and propagate in their spheres of influence. Your view, General Shankar.
Yeah, I think they are completely echo chambers of each other. Right? What suits them will come, what doesn't suit them will not come. You see, in this case, I must also clarify, which we not got around to that. In this case, Pakistan victory over India is a narrative which suited the West. It suited the Americans, it suited Chinese. Though Chinese were doing all the hard work, it suited the Chinese Americans very well. Because then we wouldn't go in for Rafale. After all, it's more a game of money. So I think we have to be clear about these issues, and we should understand this and behave accordingly. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question. This is for Rajiv Narayananji. Oh, it comes to you directly. Do you think Trump is just an agent? Order, chaos. I think USA is completely targeting China's oil supply and cutting all its routes, CPEC, BRA, before it chokes Malacca. Nil Rajiv.
Can it choke? Can it choke its oil supplies? Has it been able to choke? I don't think so. I don't think US has even the capacity to do that. There's pipelines which run from Iran for him. There's pipelines which run from Russia for him. How are you going to choke those things? Can you choke Malacca when 80%, 70% of the global trade goes through it? How do you choke it? Can you stop ships in international water and stop stopping it? Let's be very clear on all these issues. 70% of the global trade passes through Malacca Straits. So how do you choke that? That means you're choking everybody else in the world. See, CPEC BRI in any case had to fail. When you are, nobody had to do anything. CPEC BRI had to fail. When you're going to do things based on making the other country a debtor, obviously it will fail. And where has it gone through? CPEC and BRI. CPEC, it goes through a least developed country today in the world, LDC, used to be called in our days. Okay. And BRI is also going through such countries who can't pay back anything. And Chinese economy is floundering because of that. So these are lot of things. Every US president, every congressman, by the way, is just a front. Let's be very clear about it. There are many other people behind him who have funded him, who are pulling the strings. So think about it. Trump has been placed there. He's trying to do order, chaos. That is his way of functioning. He thought he will go that way because the Republican Hudson Institute gave him that booklet of tariff war. And 2 chapters, he took Navarro's chapter and he went there. And obviously there is chaos. Chaos where? Chaos within USA today. I stop.
Thank you so much, sir. Next question, please. Uniman, thank you so much for your donation. And this is for General Dushyant. Chinese and Pakis have started claiming Indian culture as their own. There is one centralized effort to remove India's history. Oh, really?
I don't know whether where it is, but one thing which I can tell you very surely, that India is on the rise. Its heft is increasing. It's the fourth largest economy. So if you think that we are going to be allowed to run away with the current progress which we are making, I think you're sadly mistaken. We will have to face more challenges, and we have to be ready for those. So I think the short answer for this is this. Culture, as far as the Indian cultural heritage is concerned, मेरे दिमाग में सिर्फ एक ही सवाल एक ही ख्याल आता है, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि खुदा बंदे से पूछे पता तेरी रजा क्या है. और फॉर दैट मैटर कि कुछ हस्ती है कुछ हमारी ऐसी मिट गए जहां से रोमा और मिस्र, कुछ हस्ती है हमारी की दौरे जहां हमारा, those are the core strength of the Indian culture. It just cannot be wiped away by these Chinese and the Pakis. They will get submerged in us. The history of India is that whosoever has come to India has got submerged into India ultimately, if he has stayed here.
Next question, General Ravi Shankar. Question for any general. Restarting Bangladesh mess is lose, lose, lose everywhere. Nobody wins except mercenaries and criminals. Are the lunatics in charge of the asylum worldwide under current US administration? Thanks.
Look, this is a very complicated question. One can't answer it like that. Bangladesh is today morning I said Bangladesh is a country which has neglected its history. It's revising its history. It wants to forget its history. It's starting a new history. Remember, any country which doesn't respect its history has no future. That's what Bangladesh is. And many of these countries who want to steal your history also don't have a future because it's not their history. Okay? I mean, we know that Pakistanis always call themselves Indians outside India. That's the way they steal our thing. Today, China starts saying, Buddhism originated in China. It's a Chinese religion. So these things will happen. Don't worry. Okay? So just leave it at that. I think I've answered your larger question. Yeah. US,
Next
forget
one,
it. They don't have, their history is limited. Huh? After all, their history is a gory history also. Remember that. There's a history where they've completely exterminated the original inhabitants of this land and put them in reservations. Even today. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. This is for General Rajiv. General Rajiv, before I read the question for you, I wanted all of us to watch this thing on Netflix that just dropped, Death by Lightning. It is a story of the 20th United States President. His name was James Garfield. 1880. Do watch it because it tells you that even at that time, 145 years ago, there was a huge amount of influence on who does whose bidding. Just watch it. It's fascinating viewing. Sir, General Rajiv Narayan, this question for you, sir. Kindly guide us what we want to contribute to India's InfoWar effort. Teach us how to verify and amplify truth. Stage strategies to counter misinformation and promote national interest. General Rajiv.
Very simple. Anything which comes out like what General Dushyant had mentioned, that check and verify, go to the source. Like, I'll give you an example. The audio deep fake had come about our chief making certain statements. So go to the source of what the chief had said, you will get to know. And the PIB and the Army ADGPI was very quick on the draw and it came out as fake. So then you contribute and amplify and make sure in your group and other groups it starts going that this is the fake, and start what you should do is not just telling that it is fake, tag the person who has said it.
Yeah.
When you tag the person, everybody gets to know, and then you put it there. Be careful of what he says next time.
Next
The
one,
tagging
please.
is important.
Yeah.
I would like to add here. This program was broadcasted 2 days back, where the the chief was in conversation with Sweta Singh, and in my welcome address I had said that, look, even before we end this program, a deep fake of this particular video will come out. And sure enough, the program ended at 1:30, and by 2:30 a deep fake of the chief's conversation came out in the open. Luckily, ADGPI, everybody was sitting there, so they immediately went up and got that deep fake trashed out. But it can't happen for everything. So therefore, what John Rajiv Naran said is that I think it's a multi-pronged responsibility. Organizers of a program, the listeners, the viewers, I think everyone has to chip in for this.
Next question, please. This is for General Dushyant again. SC out. Please let us understand why we should spend money on lobby to tell truth. We know what we did. Why we care about what white people think?
Okay, like I said, it is always better to defend yourself through attack. When you're defending a fortress, or you're defending a border. It's a long border, it's a short border, whatever it is. In the case of Israel, it's a very short border, but that got breached. But when you attack, it causes deterrence. So I think this offensive content in our gray zone has to step in. We cannot always live with this moral high ground. We have to put the other guy, otherwise he'll keep on changing the policies of various people against you. You have to survive in this global world order. So if people start going against you, if every day you start having statements coming which are not in favor of India, then probably you'll be thrown out of the the big groupings, etc. Or even if you're not thrown out, you'll be ignored. So I think in overall interest, it is better for us to, in the land of Roman, be like Romans. I mean, that's as simple as that.
Next one, please.
1 minute. It's not only a matter of going, bothering about others. It's also internal. There are a lot of people in India who need to know that what others are speaking of false. Like today, we are calling it out.
Yes.
Otherwise, like I said, there's so many. See, let me be very honest, Shriyarji, and I'm sure others will also agree. This issue is actually inconsequential, what we are talking of. I go with the comment, why should we be bothered? It's inconsequential. But why are we talking? We are talking because of the response each of us have got individually. Oh, has India lost? Now this has come in that document. Right? Why has it come into the document? Because of fake news? Because of biased news? Because of someone? So these things are happening. It's a matter of building internal strength. Why are we coming here speaking three different things? Why are so many people listening to us? To get the confidence that we are doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Right? That is why it is required. Yeah, if you're very strong, if you are not going to be bothered about what others are saying, be strong. Very strong. We are not that strong as it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question. General, this is for you, General Shankar. Amitesh 888. To be honest, many Indians want Western countries certification. This is the problem. Your views?
Well, that's a fact. Yeah.
Mental colonization.
Yeah, it's
mental colonization. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, you're colonized. Amitesh, you yourself are colonized because you ask such questions. Why should I go that far? Because I now know many people are asking questions. I know the way they ask questions. Okay.
Next one, please.
That's how it is.
So this mental colonization, I'm reminded of something. When I was a student, right, we used to go to these inter-university competitions, and there will be students from IITs also. And I used to hear IIT Madras guys talking about going to Wales. Where is this Wales? I mean, these guys are still sitting in India and they're talking about I went to Wales yesterday, I went to this. Then it turned out that is Velachery. That is just outside the campus. The thing is, they're already thinking that they are in a foreign land. When I was studying, 89 to 90, 95%, I think, all the graduates from IITs went abroad. So that's the 1987 batch guys comment. You should look at it from that context, General Ravishankar. It's very different. They went to IIT so that they could go abroad after that. Next question, please. Now, don't blame me. I also did the same thing. But next question to Rajiv Narayananji. Yudhishthir earned the credibility of even his arch enemy Duryodhan so much so that he had checked ending of Ajñātavāsam with Yudhishthir. Lies have limited life. Your views, sir.
I'm sorry, he didn't check from him. He was very clear because he was going by the solar calendar, and those days lunar calendar was more in vogue. Who corrected him was Bhishma Pitama. Duryodhan never asked Yudhishthir whether it ended. He said, you have come out earlier, you got to go back again for 13 years and 1 year Ajñātavāsam. Please, we should be very clear on our scriptures, what is written there, what is not. Lies do not have a limited life. It keeps get churning and replaced in different forms. Let's be clear. Words spoken, it has a life, it never goes. That is what our scriptures also take, and that's why they say that be careful of what you say, and when you say, to whom you say, in what language you say, and how you say. Because that stays, and it comes packaged in different ways. To say lies have a limited life, I may have stamped the fake news. 10 years down the line, that old fake news will come again. How many of you will remember that it was given fake? So that is why we keep saying that you have to have your narrative and run your own bots and run whatever you have, so that floods.
Thank you so much, sir. A lot of stuff that came out today, very useful, and as always, a pleasure having you three gentlemen on our channel. And this came live to you from 3 different channels. Hopefully, you watched it wherever you are. Do subscribe to that channel and to the other 2 channels also. Thank you once again, gentlemen. Namaskar. Looking forward for next Thursday.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.